Hey party people, welcome to the Lucent Glass YouTube channel. My name is Jessica, the owner of Lucent Glass, your go-to spot for all things art glass. In today's tutorial, we're going to talk about 3 tips on how to cut thin strips like you see here in our recent free pattern, Sunshine and Rainbows. You can find this free pattern on our website under resources. Our patterns are completely free and free to use. Our goal with our free patterns is that it takes away the stress of trying to come up with design options. We just ask that you give us a shout out on socials when you use our patterns. If you love stained glass tutorials, please hit the like and subscribe button to get notifications when we post a new tutorial. So let's get started. When it comes to cutting thin curved strips, it's important to consider 3 things: glass choice, your tools, and then technique. In this project, you'll see that I used clear cathedral glass for the rainbow. Cathedral glass is a glass that is transparent, one color, with or without texture. This glass here that you can't see through is described as an opalescent glass. A cathedral glass is a softer glass. It's easier to score and typically easier to break. Opalescent glass is a more dense glass, making it a bit more challenging to cut than a cathedral glass. I strategically used a clear cathedral glass in my harder shapes because I had anticipation that they would be harder to cut. So I'm going to use my easier cutting glass. Also, since they're such bright colors and in the center of the project, it really draws your eye right to the rainbow, especially when there's lots of sun behind this piece. This is one way you can strategically use your glass colors to draw the eye while also choosing colors that will make your glass shapes easier to achieve. The next important thing to consider is your glassworking tools. Ensure that you're using a glass cutter that has a good cutter wheel. This is a Toyo brand glass cutter, and what sets them apart from other glass cutters is the 3mm tungsten carbide wheel in the cutter head. The carbide wheel provides excellent scoring and a long-lasting cutter head, while still being accessible to the average consumer. Although buying a good glass cutter is more expensive up front, especially if you're unsure if you want to get started, but it will save you a lot of money in the long run because you're going to have a lot more success when scoring your glass pieces. So we recommend the Toyo brand glass cutter as it's a high quality glass cutter and the leading glass cutter for the art glass industry. So I have one of the rainbow pieces here drawn on this piece of float glass. When I am scoring this piece of glass, I'm going to start with the harder cut first, which is the inside curve here. And then I'll cut the outside curve. I always recommend cutting the harder cut first, as you still have bulk here from the rest of the glass hanging on, supporting the shape. And if something does go wrong, you typically can adjust your pattern piece and still use your glass. To cut this curve, I'm going to separate the bulk off. And I'm going to create relief lines and break this section out in portions. I'm going to score both my relief line and the line that I'd like to keep. Great. So once you've scored your relief line and your desired cut, you can take your grosing pliers or your breaking tool and apply small amounts of pressure at the corner. I like to use my knuckle or index finger adjacent from the mouth of my grosing pliers and apply a little bit of upward pressure. You can see that my score line has broken part way, and I'll move over here. Apply a little bit of upward pressure, and this time it completely released. I'll do the same thing over here. There we go. Now that I have the hard cut out of the way, I can go ahead and cut the rest of my curve. And I'll take off this small amount. And there we have our thin strip. I hope you found this tutorial on how to cut thin inside curves like the ones here in our free Sunshine and Rainbows pattern useful, and you can start to apply these tips to your stained glass practice. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button so you never miss a new tutorial from Lucent Glass. If you have questions, comments, or suggestions for future tutorials, please drop us a comment. We'd love to hear your ideas. Thanks for watching and happy crafting. We'll see you next time.